Amazing. So tell me, Charlie, why are you attracted to this? Just keep going. Yeah. So why are you attracted to this area?
Well, because it's kind of like the places where we'd go camping as kids, my family and I, in the summer. Every 2 weeks, we'd go to a new location, and this is what it was like. I mean, we always had water nearby. We always had mountains. Not that we have mountains here, but we always had water. We always had old trees, green grass, and it was never a place without water. And so water's great. Good memories.
Yeah, cool. So what is it about nature?
Well, my dad grew up on the side of a mountain called Jackass Hill, actually. And his backyard was actually part of a foothill. And so he grew up in the mountains. He loved the mountains. He gave that joy to my mom, because my mom was from the desert in Mexico, and she was afraid of the mountains.
Oh, and, what's that story?
She never saw, there's no mountains where she's from. It's all desert. Flat.
Oh, wow.
So it was strange and mysterious. And my mom loved the beach. My dad had no experience with the beach. He was in Kellogg, Idaho, near the Panhandle. And so it was strange for him, the beach. And my mom always said she taught my dad to love the beach. And
look into it. Yeah. Okay.
And she taught my dad to love the beach, and he taught her to love the mountains.
Oh,
and that's my mom's story.
Here.
Yeah, this is the water and the land coming together, just like my mom and dad.
Wow, that's very significant. Look at this right here. Speaking of which,
wow, somebody did this.
Made a circle.
With rocks.
Yeah.
Like a meditation circle or something?
Or making the circle of life, or making the circle of love.
And so we'd go camping every 2 weeks during the summer to a new place.
Right.
We've been to a million places. You know how close all those places are. Pollock Pines, Turlock Lake, Bear Lake, Echo Lake, all these places where we went camping, and it was a good memory. Yeah, it was something bigger than us, and it was a beautiful place to be, because I didn't make any of this stuff, and this is so beautiful that, you know, you're part of it, and you feel like, wow, then maybe I'm part of this too. Maybe I was made by the same person who made all of this. And so
wow.
It's just like you felt encompassed by a bigger mom and dad, in a sense.
Wow.
Very much protected.
Wow.
And it was nice, because all of us were together, all of us 7 children, and we fought because we came in compact in this little sardine van, VW van, 7 kids and 2 parents, and we would, you know, kick each other underneath the tables, and Mom, he's kicking me, Mom, he's touching me. And the whole trip was like arguing and yelling and screaming, and that was just like,
so like the ducks right out there.
like those ducks. That's what it was, going up. And so I you know, you kind of learn to get along, how to apologize, how to make up. So it was an exercise in reconciliation. The best part was when we got out of the sardine van and we got out to just run around, you know, uninhibited, make our own trails, and my dad, Mom would give us that freedom to explore, and that was the best part. My dad, see that bridge right there? My dad designed over 200 bridges in California. And my dad was an artist. He was young when he began. He began by just carving things out of wood. I mean, he would enter these contests, like carve the sailor, and with a big pipe, holding his pipe. And so my dad would carve things. He would carve that. He would carve animals out of wood, out of soap. And he started with carving, and then after that, I think he got into drawing, sketching, cartoons, animals, people, and he learned on his own. I'm not even aware of, but my parents were a perfect combination, because it's like, here you have my dad, very quiet, calm, nice, you know, guy, you know, unassuming, unpretentious. And here you have my mom, very extroverted, always moving. So they were opposites, and they attracted each other. Here's my dad, the oldest of, 6 kids, and here's my mom, the youngest of 8, youngest girl, and so they were opposites.
So these two opposites sort of converged like this piece of wood.
Two opposites, you have a lot of freedom as far as like in the relationship of how it's going to go, because there's going to be a lot of arguing, but then there's going to be reconciliation, and there's going to be freedom to be different. And so we were very different in our family. Mannerisms, when he says whoopsie daisy and I say whoopsie daisy, nobody else in the world says that, it's like, that's my dad. Well, my mom was a very affectionate person, for one thing. She tucked me in bed every night, sign of the cross, kiss on the forehead, and she sent us off to school that way too, with the sign of the cross. Also, my mom was a very faithful person. She believed in God and she prayed all the time. Her and my dad woke up every morning at 5:30, 6 to pray the entire rosary every single day of their life of married. They were married almost 50 years together.
Wow.
Also, my mom, very much a leader in her community, led a prayer group of over 300-something families that got together every Tuesday for a prayer group at St. Rose's Parish, and my mom was part of the original group that started that big, huge prayer group back in around 1972. And so my mom always has to this day, is very involved in her community. She's the president of the Vincent de Paul at her church, and they give out food to the needy every 2 weeks at the parish. And every other Monday they go down and buy surplus food downtown. So my mom's very active in the community, and I think that's why I teach at Twin Rivers,
right,
at Del Paso Heights. I mean, it's just doing the work of my mom, and that's why my sister Lisa has always been like she's never worked in a hospital her whole life, just clinics, making peanuts, working to help the poor people. But yeah, I was in seminary for 6 years, studying to be a Roman Catholic priest, and that was largely part of my mom, just an extension of her. But this was talking about dreams and visions, wanting to make a difference, their spirituality. Very inspiring time in my life, and really shaped me, really showed me what men are capable of. Best part of my teenage years was actually maybe as a freshman in college, revisiting my old high school, feeling hurt and abandoned, and also feeling loved by my mom and dad.
Wow. So in that
contrast.
And yes, exactly. Awesome. In that darkness, you found the light.
That was the best part. I think the best parts of my life are parts that are the darkest, because that's when the light contrasts with the darkness, and that's when you really find out who your friends are and who really loves you.
Wow, that's amazing. What's up to this point been the highest point of your life?
I don't know, but I would have to say, I guess meeting Kathy, because that was such a drastic change in my life. I met Kathy on a blind date that you set up, and here I meet this person who is very different from me physically and emotionally in every way. She's 6 foot tall. I'm 5'8.5", I guess, and it's like just physically we look different. Here I am half Mexican. She's like Scotch, Irish, English, French. So we look different. And she's from Carmichael, a rich area. I'm from South Sac. Not the richest area. And so by any means. So it's like we're from two different worlds, and yet we were both introverts, both shy, both teachers, and we both had this need to tell our stories, and we did. When nobody else wanted to hear, it's like Kathy heard my story, and I heard her story, and we shared our lives together, and I became a dad.
What's the meaning of love?
That word wasn't used too much in our house. Instead, it was shown. Love was always shown. It wasn't talked about. So the word still throws me off, but when I think of the word, I have to think of action. Okay, love is an action. And when I would see how my mom and dad sacrificed for us and put 7 kids in private schools, parochial schools, on a single income, family income, that's a sacrifice. That's love. Or when I saw how my mom left her culture, her country in Mexico, all her relatives, her customs, her dance, her music, the food, everything. She left that to come to this country, and she brought us up and raised us in that culture. She was sacrificing herself.
So love is sacrifice for you then, is romantic love then?
Romantic love, I think, is a chemistry, and it's important. especially when you're young, to get two people together, because men and women are so different. Why else would a guy talk to a woman unless he was attracted to her? I mean,
Life to you then.
the meaning of life to me is to go with the flow, is to be who you are, follow your heart, and nothing else can go wrong. Because even if you are wrong, you're right. Because I think life is a script, and you just follow your heart. And if you get things wrong, just trust your instinct, go with your heart. Even if you're wrong, then that was part of the plan. You were wrong.
Wow. Let me see if I can get in closer.
Well, to me, a river is something that you're not in control of. It's something that's going to go fast, it's going to go slow. You can't stop it, you can't speed it up, you can't slow it down. And it's going to take whatever is in there with it, and you just go with the flow. And to me, river is like life. It's like there's something bigger than us that's directing it. And if you see a flow and you see where the river's flowing and you go with the flow, then you're going to find a lot of things, coincidences, whatever you want to call them, happening in your favor. To me, it's a perfect symbol of life, and also a symbol of baptism and renewal. Water cleanses you, and so you're. And even though I'm not that same 14-year-old, but it showed me that in life, I can jump and trust my instincts, and something beautiful. So now I'm a father, and that has transformed me, because it's helped me to be less selfish and look at other needs too, and has Asperger's syndrome, and which has come with its own challenges. But I've also seen how my son has gifts too. My son has an imagination and a way to tell stories and a way to just love music, love life, love light.
Tell me about rocks.
Well, I'm walking around here, I'm seeing these different kind of rocks, and it reminds me of Isaac, my son, who gives me rocks. He's been doing it for the last few years. He'll find an interesting rock and he'll give it to me, and then he'll explain what he sees about it and what he likes about it. And it's kind of his way of just saying, in a very symbolic way, Dad, here's something that I've seen in you and me together, and this is a moment to share. And so I have like probably around, I don't know, 10, 12 rocks sitting on my computer desk that have been there for like the last couple of years that I've never taken away, because I accept those as gifts from my son. And
Wow.
I think it's just a beautiful thing. I mean, what better thing can you give to another person than something that was naturally made, that wasn't made by you? You can't beat nature. You can't beat God. And so it's a spiritual part of my son that he shares with me. And so it's a beautiful thing. I call it the joie de vivre. And it's something that I see in Kathy's eyes. It's the same thing I see in little first graders or kindergartners. It's this joy of life, this trust of something bigger than themselves, and trust in other people. And so Kathy opened her heart to me the very second I talked to her. And nobody's ever done that to me in my life. And Kathy has a gift. I don't think she sees it in herself, because you can't see it. When you have a gift that's that big, it cannot be seen except through the eyes of other people. And so I get to see that every day. I get to see that joy that Kat has, this very deep spirituality. And it's not just religious. I mean, even though she was going to daily mass way before she met me, it's like a belief that that God is watching us, and that God lives in every one of us. And Kathy looks at me like that. She looks at me in a very spiritual way, and I see her in a very spiritual way. I learned a lot about being joyful over the little things in life, over animals. Kathy loves animals. She sees God in animals. She has a spirituality like St. Francis. And I'll look at a cat, and that's just a cat to me. But to Kathy, it's another spiritual being with a soul. And I think... Okay, well, I look around here. I smell the salt. I see the shells, and it reminds me of the ocean. And that's a connection to my mom. And when I die, I want to be cremated, and I want to be put in the ocean in a place called San Carlos, on a peninsula that I jumped into when I was just, 14. And I jumped into it at a time when I was scared, into the deep waters in a place where nobody else was swimming, and it was a very kind of pivotal time, perfect time, when I jumped and did something what I thought was dangerous, and just experienced complete calm. Nothing can go wrong. It's like God really wants us together. I've seen so many coincidences in our life where good things have happened just because we're together.